Welcome to the MD Hyperbaric Primetime Preps Football Pregame Show, powered by our friends at Current Electric. I am Mike McGivern. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm not a big country music fan. I never have been. However, the song Boys of Fall by Kenny Chesney is a must listen to this time of year. And if you haven't seen the video for this song, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It just brings back all kinds of memories. Week one of the high school football season is always a really exciting time for these players, coaches, families, schools, and communities. It's time when school is either back in session or about to be back. So much goes into that. And on the field, these coaches are wondering, have we done enough to have this team ready to go? If players who have not gotten much time on the varsity level are up for the task, and the nervous energy that can be felt on the field, on the sidelines, and in the stands, I absolutely love it. The Boys of Fall are ready to get after it, and we are so excited to bring it to you here on My 24. For the next 9 weeks, join me for the Primetime Preps Football Pregame Show at 6:30 every Friday night as we get you ready for kickoff. We'll talk to each of the head coaches and highlight a different team from the All-American Youth Football League. Speaking of the AAYFL, I am joined for this week's show by Greg Clark. He's the commissioner of the AAYFL. Greg, man, big week.
Yes, it is. It's a great week, and I want to thank you very much for inviting us to represent in the studio.
Yeah, you bet. Well, I appreciate all the work that you do and the amount of time that you give me, and thank you so much for sponsoring what I do on the radio and what we do here at My 24. Hey, numbers in AAYFL. Numbers good this year, strong, staying steady, moving up, moving down. Talk to me a little bit about the numbers with your youth football program.
The numbers are up. They're doing really well. We have 146 teams representing 36 communities. We just had our coaches meeting last week. Practices in full swing. We start games next week. So, yes, it's a very exciting time.
Man, it is the largest youth football league in the state of Wisconsin.
Yes.
And I don't know if this is breaking news, and we didn't talk too much about it, but you might be adding a little something to the AAYFL, girls flag football.
Yes.
And it's getting to be pretty big, high school and college, and there are some teams playing in this area that might be coming under the AAYFL umbrella. Yeah,
there's 4 teams that have a league right now, and they're still working on getting organized. We reached out a couple weeks ago, and we're going to be in discussions about bringing that under the AAYFL umbrella. And it's great. Anything we can do to promote the sport of football, girls, guys, it's all going to help. And I feel it's a great sport. So the more we can bring under our umbrella and help organize that, I'm all for it.
Hey, Greg, tonight's game at Muskego is youth football night, and I hope that people are ready for about a 7:15 kickoff, because the amount of kids that play youth football, not only Muskego but Waunakee, 2 of the best youth football programs in the state of Wisconsin. What makes somebody like a Muskego, other than the numbers, well, in your mind, what makes them, the crown jewel of youth football in the state?
I think one of the keys is organization, and we're there bringing new people in. It's not just the same guys that are running the program for 20 years. There's new people coming in, which keeps it fresh, and they're doing a lot to promote the program. I mean, if you look on their website, you see their board of directors. They have a lot of people involved, and for different areas, and with a program that size, they need it, and they do a phenomenal job.
Hey, as the commissioner of the AAYFL, what keeps you up at night?
Oh boy. Well, I would say, getting everybody organized, and that's early in the season, which this year we got our schedule out as soon as we could so people could prepare. But it's those last minute things that we don't know, because as you know, youth football does take a step behind the high school, and we play at all the high schools. So we get a last minute field cancellation, so then we got to scramble and circle the jets to see what we can do. Those are probably some of the things that bother me the most.
I can't thank you enough for being part of this, and the fact that we have similar mindset, that we know that what you do is the lifeblood and the lifeline for these high school football programs, and the amount of lessons these kids learn playing youth football. They will carry it over into when they get old, like me and kind of like you, I guess. I can tell you that. But what you guys do is so impressive to me, and how you keep it organized and how you keep everybody rolling. And I would highly recommend for anybody in these communities to go out and watch these kids play. Whether you have a dog in the fight or not, go out into your community. It's a free game, right? But bring some money and spend a little money in the concessions. You're going to stick around with me for the entire show, and I thank you. We're going to get to a break. Other side of the break, we will be joined by Waunakee head coach Chris Graverson. This is the MD Hyperbaric Primetime Preps football pregame show, as always, powered by Current Electric, only on My 24. Welcome back to the MD Hyperbaric Primetime Preps football pregame show, powered by Current Electric. We're just minutes away from kickoff as Waunakee travels to take on Muskego for our season opener. Tonight's non-conference game, it's a good one. The Waunakee Warriors from the Badger Large Conference take on the Muskego Warriors from the Classic 8 Conference. Let's start with Waunakee. The Waunakee Warriors coming off a season where they won their first 12 games before losing to Arrowhead in the Level 4 playoff game 19-17. They're led by second-year head coach Chris Graverson. Hey, Chris, how you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Coach, year two as the head coach of a program like Waunakee, when guys like me talk about Waunakee and they talk about the best high school football programs in the state of Wisconsin, Waunakee is always in that conversation. Year two as the head coach, a little bit smoother. The template for you has been set to getting ready for the opener?
Yeah, last year was actually my second year, so this is going into my third now.
Third year, correct. Taking over for legendary coach Pat Rice.
Yeah. Things have been really good. You know, we've got the thing we've talked about with our kids is, and it was a Pat thing for a long time, is that the standard is the standard, and when the next group of kids comes in, the expectations of how we prepared, that kind of stuff doesn't change. And, it was kind of a nice having been here with him for the years prior to that. It was a nice thing to have kind of in my pocket in terms of the standard doesn't change with the head coach either, right? Like it's our program expectations. It's not a person's expectations. It's us. It's how we hold ourselves. So that aided quite a bit in the transition.
Hey, Coach, before we get into this year's team, Greg Clark, the commissioner of the AAYFL, is here with me, and excuse me, talking to Ryan McMillan over the years, who's a Waunakee guy and the athletic director at Muskego. He talked about growing up in that youth program in Waunakee, and Greg and I both believe, and I think you believe the same way, that the lifeline of the high school football program is that youth program. And I'm wondering how the numbers are in the youth program in Waunakee.
We're really fortunate. I think we've got flag football all the way through K through 8, but kids can transition into tackle football if they want once they get to 4th grade. And so we've got about in each of the grades 4 through 8, we've got about 60 kids per class. So it's a pretty strong program, and we consider our flag football players, if they choose to stick with flag football for a little bit longer than that, we consider them part of our youth program, although it's run by our village parks and rec department. They're youth football players. They're a part of that lifeblood. So when we do our youth night, it is all the flag football players in town, all of the tackle football players in the town, K through 8.
Hey, Greg, when he talks about those numbers in Waunakee, I think we understand why this program is always one of the ones we talk about is one of the best in the state.
Yes, I agree, and it's great to see those numbers, and you have different options for the kids to play, and that's what you want. That's how you build the program.
100%. Hey, Coach, let's talk about this year's team. Last year's team obviously was really successful. Won your first 12, and then that Level 4 game was an awfully good high school football game, and I know that's not one you want to think about because you guys came on the short end of that one. Let's talk about this year's team and these kids that are still on this team from last year, how much they learned from going through what you guys went through last year?
A lot. And, a credit to last year's seniors who was, there's a really good senior group there with some really outstanding players. And they had been through some of that previously. And they were really kind of a core piece to this year's group, understanding the level of preparation necessary. And this year's group has gotten that for a long time. They've been one of the strongest classes, in the preparation, lifting in the weight room, sticking together as a close knit, all the stuff that we talk about. This group really has gotten it for a long time. But seeing the class ahead of them last year kind of set the tone in preparation from week to week was really helpful. So we're treating that as, although the game didn't end the way that we had hoped, it's from this year's standpoint, that experience is going to be invaluable for this senior class.
100%. Coach, two players I want to just kind of highlight, and there's a number of players on this roster that we could highlight, but with the amount of time we have, I want to start with a defensive tackle, Sam Follen, who is a kid that is as tough as they come, and defensively is a kid that's going to have to play really well for you guys this year.
Yeah, in our program, the whole thing starts with the offensive line and the defensive line. And, Sam is really, along with Sawyer Ellis and some of the other seniors we've got playing in that group, but Sam's really the leader of that group, and that's where our defensive front starts. And he's a tough kid. He's physical. He's leads by example. He's not always the verbal guy, and he can be when he needs to be, but so when he speaks up, the kids listen because it's not all that frequently that he does it. But he is a very, very tough player, and we look back at some of the games he played previously, and it's like you watch him on film, and it's maybe not a ton of tackles all of a sudden, but you watch the film and you go, that was our whole game, was how he played. So it starts with our D-line, and Sam Follen is kind of the leader of that group.
Love that.
Certainly.
Hey, Coach, real quick, Eli, is it Drangsveit?
Drangsveit, yep.
Yep, running back who, look, he did a lot for you guys last year, and he's going to be expected to carry the rock a little bit more. Let's talk about what he brings to your team.
Yeah, he's steady experience there. This is his third year getting significant reps at running back. He, played a lot of reps as a sophomore. Kind of split the reps last year with Colin Murphy at running back. Eli's a big kid. He's a downhill runner, does well with contact. But just he provides a lot of steady, calm. He's a fierce competitor, but he's calm. He's not out there, screaming. He's just a steady kind of rock back there that we rely on internally. The stuff starts to get a little bit rough or the fog starts to set in a little bit on the game and things start to get a little blurry. Eli doesn't get shook by that, and that's really a good help for the offense's mentality.
Hey, Coach, I can't thank you enough for a few minutes of your time. What a great opener here at My 24 to have Waunakee travel and play a team like Muskego and a program like Muskego. Again, two of the best programs in the state of Wisconsin. I really appreciate your time, and good luck tonight.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate all the coverage for high school sports. It means a lot to our kids and families and our communities as well.
That's awesome. Coach, thank you very much. We're going to get to a break. Other side of the break, we'll be joined by Ryan Lucchesi, the first-year head coach at Muskego. This is the MD Hyperbaric Primetime Preps football pregame show powered by Current Electric, only on My 24. Welcome back to the MD Hyperbaric Primetime Preps football pregame show powered by Current Electric. We are just minutes away from kickoff as Waunakee travels to take on Muskego for our season opener. Let's talk about the Muskego Warriors. Last year, they finished 11-2 overall, undefeated in the Classic 8, and had their season end in a level 4 with a heartbreak loss to Bayport 38-35. We're now joined by the first-year head coach for the Muskego Warriors. He is Ryan Lucchesi. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Tremendous. It's week one. Football is here. It doesn't get much better than this, does it, Mike?
It does not, and I'm wondering how you've been sleeping because, look, those 6 inches on the bench moving over, it might as well be 3 miles, pal. And you're finding that out right now as far as all the paperwork and all the things that go in to being the head of a program like Muskego. You've been sleeping okay?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, having the 18-month-old daughter helps that process, right? And but the reality is, like, it's that excitement. I think week one's as good as it gets. I think everybody, there's hope, there's optimism statewide. You truly sometimes, in many cases, don't know what you're going to get. Like, you think you have a semblance of an idea, but, it's one of those things. Like, are we in shape? Are we going to tackle? What do we look like live for 48 minutes? Right. And but for me personally, no. I mean, I'm familiar with this place. I love this place, and our kids know who we are, and we're just excited about really kicking this thing off for real.
Hey, before we talk about this year's team, it's youth night here at Muskego tonight, and I told the coach from Waunakee, get ready for about a 9 p.m. kickoff because you're going to have 6,000. And I'm joined with Greg Clark, who's the commissioner of the AAYFL. Coach, you understand the importance of the youth football program being the lifeline for the varsity and the JV and the high school program. And when I talk to Greg Clark and I talk about the AAYFL, he starts with Muskego. He just does. And Greg, they do a great job with youth football in Muskego.
Yes, they do. Preparing those kids to come on to that next level is really what it's all about. And Muskego's very involved. The varsity is very involved with the youth program that brings these kids up. And Coach, I know with your first year, how involved or how do you feel going into the youth football?
I feel great. You hit the nail on the head about it being the lifeblood and really the foundation. I think it's a foundational pillar of any successful football program, at our level is just having that relationship and that alignment with your youth football program. Matt Carudza is our now acting youth football president. He's done an incredible job, and he's taken over some incredible people before him, and he's kept this thing going and just continue to find ways to elevate the whole deal. But we truly have looked at it like we're a 1st through 12th grade program. Tackle football starts as early as 4th grade for us here in Muskego. And for the last number of years, 5th through 8th grade, we have 2 teams at each level, and we're actually going to have a second team in 4th grade, right? Because numbers are in a good spot. And what we try to do is challenge those guys, like, to start as 20 to 22 starters per team. So that amount of kids are playing and developing and just getting the experience. And we think that's been huge to, I think, sustain and hopefully grow our numbers as they hopefully get into freshman year and beyond. But yeah, anytime you can go out and have a great experience playing, youth football, like, we know how much it means to us, and it's huge. It's huge.
Hey, Coach, let's talk a little bit about this program, and it's interesting because there are other programs throughout the state where their head coach and some legendary head coaches have retired and stepped down or are just going to be kind of around part-time. What's really encouraging and interesting to me is your whole staff. Everybody stayed. And that says a lot about you as a coach, that everybody said, look, I'm staying, and we're going to run this whole thing back. You had to feel pretty good about that.
We do, and I think, continuity matters, consistency matters, right? The care factor in it all matters, and, like, our staff has all those things and embodies those things. So it's like, the only changes we want to make are changes we see that elevate the deal, right? There was no reason to get rid of anybody or anything like that, because, like, we have a group that all buy in and care about kids and care about the processes and the program being successful. So it's like, hey, maybe we shift a few roles around here and there, and we elevate some titles for some other guys and empower some others and empower the group to try to be even more collaborative. But yeah, I mean, our staff loves each other. We hang out. I mean, it's a pretty cool social dynamic for us. So some of the best friends in my life are the guys that we coach with, and that's a pretty special situation that we have.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, this year's team, you guys lost some really talented seniors from last year's team. But Joey Shaw, who's your starting quarterback, been the quarterback there at Muskego for a bit. It's his huddle. He understands the culture, understands what you guys are looking for. How has he looked in some of the preseason stuff?
Yeah, he looks great. I'm incredibly proud of him. 3-year starter. He's a lefty. He's a dynamic athlete. His ability to make things happen off script and the improvisation is off the charts and really his greatest gift. He's taken considerable steps as a leader. Really over the last calendar year, but as we've gotten through the summer months and into our football specific work, it's just the best place he's been from like a leadership standpoint, without question. He's voted team captain, so that's something that we expected. And I think one thing that the outside world never gets a chance to see about Joe is Joe does so much at the line of scrimmage for us. He really is like an offensive coordinator, if you will, because he's given the ability to change plays and package plays and get us in and out of certain looks. And that's really a testament to his football IQ and his ability to just kind of pick up on defenses, understand our processes, our plan, and get us into what we think is best to go attack an opposing defense.
Hey, Coach, on the defensive side, you've got a safety, Taylen Czarniak, I believe he pronounces it. He's been a starter for a few years as well. And that just really, if you're a sophomore starting at a place like Muskego, you got to be a really good football player. And obviously now he's a senior leader and a captain, I would think, on the defensive side. But he's a kid that you count on quite a bit.
Yeah, you said it. Rotated and played significant role as a sophomore. Huge year, first team all conference, and ton of accolades last year as a junior. And he's poised to have a big year. He looks really good back there, and it's been fun. He's been patient. He's a kid that comes downhill, but you can see the footwork and his intentionality to be really clean in coverage has been an area that we've really focused and tried to really challenge him to grow in. He will be a captain. He's one of our other captains. We have 6 of them total, but that was a no-brainer, and that's another place for him. Like, he always would do the right thing and a lead by example kind of guy. Now you're starting to hear him find his voice a little bit and challenge the group, challenge the room, challenge and lead the team in the right way. So that's been fun to see with Taylen, and he's another awesome kid. 3-sport athlete, 4.2 GPA. He checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, he does. Hey, last question for you before we cut you loose. Had a lot of people saying, hey, if you got Lucchesi on, you better ask him this. Over under how many times that lefty quarterback's going to put the ball up in the air tonight. I'm telling people it's over under's 10. Everybody's taking the under, but there's a new sheriff in town, Coach. You want to break any news here today?
I'm going to say we're going to do whatever it takes to win.
There you go. You are so politically correct. Always have been. I absolutely love that. Hey, Coach, I think the world of you. And great decision by Ryan McMillan that when there was time for a change, when Ken Krause wanted to step back a little bit to have you take over. Really proud of you and wish you the best of luck tonight, Coach.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It means a lot, and I appreciate all your love and support through the years, and that this community's special, and you're going to get a chance to see that tonight, everybody that's out there, and it's important to be grateful in life, and we're really grateful for the opportunity, for me personally, to coach this group in this place, in this community, and tonight's like tonight in Muskego. We're going to show everybody why, and it's just it's pretty special to be a part of, so I really appreciate it.
Ryan, thank you very much. We're going to get to a break. I want to thank our guests before we do. Greg Clark, Commissioner for the AAYFL, Waunakee head coach Chris Graverson, and Muskego head coach Ryan Lucchesi. After the break, Dan Brunner and Bobby Brainerd will give you the keys to tonight's matchup between the Warriors from Waunakee and the Warriors from Muskego. This has been the MD Hyperbaric Primetime Preps Football Pregame Show, powered by Current Electric, only on My 24.